Have you ever loved someone who refused to be owned? Someone who, no matter how much you gave, always needed just a little more space? Or maybe that someone is you. Here's a shocking truth for an Aquarius. Freedom isn't just a preference. It's survival. Without it, they can't breathe. They can't think. And they definitely can't love. But why? Why does this zodiac sign, more than any other, seem impossible to control? Why do they vanish when you try to hold them close? And what is really happening inside their heart when they push you away? Today, we're going deeper than simple zodiac traits. We'll explore the hidden psychology behind Aquarius's need for independence, their strange emotional detachment, their unpredictable mind, and their restless soul that's always chasing something even they can't explain. By the end of this video, you won't just understand Aquarius better. You'll understand freedom itself. So, if you've ever loved an Aquarius, worked with one, or you are one yourself, this is a video you need to hear. Make sure to like this video, share it with a friend who needs this message, and subscribe to our channel for more deep emotional insights. Now, are you ready to discover the truth behind the untouchable soul of Aquarius? Let's begin. Have you ever felt someone pulling away from you, even when you were trying your best to hold them closer? Maybe you thought they didn't care. Maybe you blamed yourself. But what if their silence was their way of surviving? Aquarius is a mystery like that. To many people, they seem cold, distant, almost unreachable. But behind that emotional distance, there's a reason. It's not because they don't feel. In fact, they feel too much. Their mind moves constantly. Their emotions run deep. And sometimes, staying distant is the only way they can protect their inner world from the chaos outside. Imagine trying to explain your heart to someone when even you can't find the words for it. That's what Aquarius lives with. Their emotional detachment isn't rejection. It's their defense. They step back, not because they want to hurt you, but because they're trying not to lose themselves. Think about your own life for a moment. Have you ever needed space but didn't know how to ask for it? That's the daily struggle for an Aquarius. Freedom isn't a luxury for them. It's oxygen. Without it, they can't breathe. They can love you deeply. They can share dreams, ideas, and adventures with you. But the moment they feel trapped, something inside them starts shutting down. In relationships, friendships, even family bonds, they will always need a door left open. Not to leave, but to know they can. That's the paradox of their love. They stay when they're free, and they leave when you try to cage them. Now, let's go deeper. Behind their need for distance lies a heart full of ideals. Aquarius isn't just running from control. They're searching for something. Something bigger than routine, than comfort, than predictability. Their mind is wired to innovate, to create, to question. They see the world, not as it is, but as it could be. Have you ever noticed how an Aquarius friend always questions why things are done a certain way? Why do we follow this rule? Why do we accept this tradition? It's not arrogance. It's curiosity. A hunger for truth. They don't rebel just to be different. They rebel because conformity feels like betrayal to their soul. While most people follow the road already built, Aquarius asks, who built this road in the first place? And is there a better way? That's why you can't control their thoughts. You can't lock their mind in a box. They're not just thinkers. They're architects of new ideas. I once knew someone who changed careers 4 times in 5 years. From engineering to music. From corporate to nonprofit. People said he was lost. But when I asked him why, he said, I'm not lost. I'm evolving. That's Aquarius. Their unpredictability isn't confusion. It's growth. It's movement. Their mind leaps forward, always seeking the next horizon, even when others can't understand their direction. They're not afraid to abandon old plans when their intuition tells them to. And that's another secret most people miss. Aquarius's mind might seem logical, analytical, distant. But their decisions? Often led by pure instinct. That quiet inner voice that no one else can hear. They might not explain why. They might not justify their choices. But they trust their gut, even when the world calls them reckless. And here's something personal. If you've ever tried to convince an Aquarius to follow your way, and they refused, don't take it as disrespect. Take it as a sign they're listening to something deeper. Their soul. Their freedom. Their future. If you love them, give them space to choose their path. Even if it leads somewhere unexpected. They'll surprise you. They'll challenge you. But most importantly, they'll teach you what it really means to trust your own voice. So, when they pull away, don't chase. When they question, don't silence them. And when they dream differently from you, stand beside them. Not to guide, but to witness. Because an Aquarius doesn't need a map. They are the map. They don't need permission to think differently. They were born to. And when you understand that, you'll never see their distance as rejection again. You'll see it as the quiet cry for freedom. From a soul that refuses to be owned. Have you ever wondered why Aquarius people often challenge every single rule? Not because they enjoy the fight, but because rules, for them, feel like walls. And walls block their vision. Aquarius doesn't follow rules simply because they exist. They need to understand them. They need to believe in their purpose. When a rule feels unfair or outdated, they'll question it. Loudly or silently. But always firmly. It's not about being difficult. It's about staying true to their inner compass. This isn't just a personality quirk. It's a survival instinct. Their mind is wired to dismantle anything that limits them, even if it's been accepted by society for centuries. I once spoke to a woman who worked in a strict corporate environment. She was an Aquarius. Every dress code, every fixed schedule, every because I said so from her manager felt like chains. People thought she was rebellious. In truth, she was suffocating. And one day, she walked out without a word. She didn't leave because she hated the job. She left because the system tried to own her spirit. That's something many people misunderstand. Aquarius doesn't break rules to hurt others. They break rules to protect themselves. And it's not just about big systems. Even in everyday life, traditions can feel like invisible prisons to them. While many find comfort in rituals, Aquarius often feels trapped by them. Imagine repeating the same things every day, not because you love them, but because others say you should. For Aquarius, that's like living someone else's life. It's not that they disrespect heritage or routines. They simply can't live inside someone else's story. Their soul craves novelty. They need fresh ideas, new experiences, and different ways of thinking to feel alive. Maybe you've seen this in someone close to you. A friend who suddenly changes their style. A partner who gets restless when life feels too predictable. That's not instability. It's evolution. Aquarius lives for the future, not the past. They don't want to copy a life that's already been lived. They want to create their own. So, when they pull away from family traditions or question long-held beliefs, don't take it personally. They're not rejecting their roots. They're searching for their wings. Now, here's something that surprises many people. Just when you think you understand an Aquarius, they change. That's not a mistake. It's their nature. Their mind shifts directions like the wind. One day, they're obsessed with a project. The next, they're off chasing a completely different dream. People call them inconsistent. But in reality, they're moving too fast for others to follow. Their unpredictability isn't chaos. It's flexibility. It's their way of staying free. Imagine planning your future around someone who changes paths overnight. Frustrating, isn't it? But for Aquarius, routine feels like a trap. Predictability kills their spark. They need the freedom to change their mind, their plans, even their feelings, without warning. That's how their inner world stays alive. If you try to control them, if you try to predict them, you'll only end up disappointed. Their unpredictability is their shield. It protects them from being boxed in. And here's a deeper truth. Aquarius doesn't need approval. Not from friends. Not from family. Not even from society. Unlike many people who crave applause or seek validation, Aquarius walks their own path. Quietly but firmly. They know that true authenticity often means standing alone. And they're not afraid of solitude. Their self-worth comes from within. It's built not on compliments, but on conviction. Think of someone you know who never seems bothered by criticism. Someone who hears opinions but stays steady, grounded, unmoved. Chances are, they're an Aquarius. Their inner confidence is like an anchor in a storm. They listen to others, yes. But their decisions are guided by their own beliefs. Not by popular opinion. Not by pressure. That's why you can't shame them into change. You can't manipulate them with rejection. Their freedom to be themselves is non-negotiable. And once you understand that, you'll see why controlling an Aquarius isn't just hard. It's impossible. So, if you're close to an Aquarius, or if you are one, here's a little advice. Don't mistake their distance for lack of care. Don't see their unpredictability as betrayal. And don't waste your energy trying to change their mind. Instead, learn from them. Learn what it means to trust your own voice. To walk your own path. To build your own wings. Because at the end of the day, Aquarius doesn't exist to fit in. They're here to stand out. To think differently. To live freely. And maybe, to teach the rest of us how to do the same. Stay with me, because what's coming next will take us even deeper into the Aquarius soul. The final 3 reasons reveal some of the most profound, and perhaps most controversial, truths about why this sign cannot and should not ever be controlled. Have you ever tried to explain something to someone, only to realize their mind was already 3 steps ahead of you? That's what it feels like trying to keep up with an Aquarius. Their thoughts move fast. Faster than most people can follow. While you're still processing what happened yesterday, they're already thinking about what could happen tomorrow. Conversations with them can feel like chasing the wind. They jump from one idea to another, not because they're distracted, but because their mind moves in leaps, not steps. That's why sometimes they seem distant or hard to reach. It's not that they're ignoring you. It's just that their mind is always running, searching, connecting dots you didn't even know existed. Imagine someone who finishes your sentence, not because they're rude, but because their intuition already told them where you were going. That's Aquarius. Their decisions aren't always based on logic you can see. Often, they're following a silent inner compass. Something deeper than thought. Something that simply feels right to them, even when it makes no sense to anyone else. And here's where it gets difficult. You can't slow them down. You can't ask them to think smaller or move slower, just to make you feel comfortable. Because their fast mind isn't a choice. It's who they are. It's how they survive. When they're forced into routines that slow their thinking, when life becomes predictable or too structured, they don't just get bored. Their spirit dims. Their creativity dies. And their soul starts to feel trapped. You're not just asking them to sit still. You're asking them to stop being themselves. That's why routine is the quiet killer of Aquarius energy. Doing the same thing, the same way, day after day, it drains them. Not just mentally. Emotionally. Imagine locking an explorer in one small room and telling them to stay there forever. That's what routine feels like for Aquarius. They crave change. They need novelty. New ideas, new experiences, new challenges, these aren't optional. They're necessary for Aquarius to feel alive. They're the fuel that keeps their inner fire burning. I remember meeting a man who worked the same office job for years. He was an Aquarius. Every morning felt heavier than the last. Not because he hated the work, but because every part of him screamed for freedom. For creativity. For something new. One day, he left it all behind. He started teaching art classes in a small town. Everyone thought he was crazy. But for the first time in years, he smiled. That's the hidden truth people miss. For Aquarius, routine isn't safety. It's suffocation. Predictability doesn't comfort them. It kills their spirit. So, if you care about an Aquarius, give them space to change. Let them shift direction. Let them follow their curiosity, even when it feels chaotic to you. It's not chaos. It's growth. And here's something even harder to accept. Aquarius will often make decisions that you can't explain. That even they can't explain with words. Because while the world waits for facts and logic, Aquarius listens to something else entirely. Their intuition. That quiet, deep knowing inside them that tells them when it's time to move, to stop, to change direction, even if everything around them says otherwise. Think about a time when you made a decision, not because you had all the evidence, but because something inside you just knew. That's how Aquarius lives, almost all the time. Their intuition doesn't always make sense, but it never fails them. They don't need permission to follow it. They don't need approval. And they certainly don't need someone to explain why it doesn't make sense. Because what feels restrictive to them is wrong. And they'll break free without hesitation. Sometimes that means leaving a job, or a city, or even a relationship, without warning. To others, it seems impulsive. But for Aquarius, it's survival. Their inner voice told them to move. And they listened. Now, here's where it gets painful. When Aquarius feels trapped, truly trapped, by control, by routine, by expectations, they won't argue. They won't fight. They won't ask for help. They'll simply disappear. Quietly. Suddenly. Completely. Without explanation. Without goodbye. That withdrawal, that silence, isn't cruelty. It's protection. It's how they preserve the most sacred part of themselves. Their freedom. I remember someone telling me, one day, he was there, the next day, gone. If you've ever experienced this, you know how much it hurts. But understand this. Aquarius doesn't leave to punish you. They leave to save themselves. When their personal freedom is threatened, when their space feels invaded, disappearing becomes their way to survive. They'll only return if they feel safe to be themselves again. Their silence isn't rejection. It's a message. A message saying, I need space to exist as myself. This is why you can't hold on too tightly to an Aquarius. The harder you grasp, the more likely they are to slip through your fingers. They're not built for confinement. They're built for exploration. Let them go, and if they return, it's because they chose to. Not because you controlled them. Now, if you've been watching closely, you'll know this is just the beginning of understanding the Aquarius soul. Because in the next part of this video, we're diving into the 3 most powerful, and perhaps the most controversial truths, about why nobody can ever truly control an Aquarius. And why, perhaps, we were never meant to. Stay with me. What's coming next might just change how you see them, forever. Have you ever noticed how stubborn an Aquarius can be when it comes to their ideals? You might think they're just being difficult. But what's really happening runs much deeper. Aquarius doesn't cling to their beliefs out of pride. They're not holding on because they're afraid of being wrong. They hold on because their ideals are a part of their identity. When they believe in something, it's not just a thought in their mind. It's a truth in their soul. Trying to change their convictions is like trying to change who they are. And the harder you push, the harder they'll resist. This isn't just stubbornness. It's survival. Because those ideals are what guide them through life. They're the reason they stand up when others stay silent. They're why they fight for justice, for fairness, for change, even when no one else understands. Aquarius doesn't give in easily. And the more someone tries to control them, the more determined they become to stand their ground. Their passion for their cause becomes even stronger. Their silence becomes deeper. Their refusal becomes absolute. And if you've ever tried to argue with an Aquarius about something they truly believe in, you know exactly what that feels like. It's like arguing with the wind. No matter what you say, they'll continue moving forward. Not out of anger, but out of pure, quiet conviction. Now, think about what happens when someone tries to invade their personal space. It's not just a boundary issue. It's something much bigger. For Aquarius, personal space is sacred. It's where they breathe, where they create, where they think, feel, and heal. Their independence isn't just a preference. It's essential to their well-being. Without space, they lose themselves. That's why they guard it so fiercely. When someone tries to control their time, their thoughts, or their energy, Aquarius doesn't argue. They retreat. They pull away, not to punish, but to protect. Their personal space is where they recharge. It's where they remember who they are. I once heard a story about a woman who ended a long-term relationship without warning. Her partner was loving, attentive, always there for her. But over time, his constant presence felt like a shadow over her life. He didn't understand that his care had become control. And one day, she was gone. No fight. No tears. Just silence. That woman was an Aquarius. She didn't leave because she stopped loving him. She left because her independence was slipping away. And to her, losing freedom felt like losing life itself. You see, when an Aquarius pulls back, it's often because they feel their boundaries have been crossed. And for them, that's a deal breaker. If you want to stay close to an Aquarius, respect their need for distance. Understand that sometimes, love means giving someone the space they don't know how to ask for. Now, let's go even deeper. At their core, Aquarius isn't meant to obey. They're meant to inspire. To lead. They're the dreamers, the visionaries, the ones who imagine a world that doesn't exist yet, and then start building it. Their role isn't to fit into the system. It's to challenge it. Break it. Rebuild it into something better. That's why attempts to control an Aquarius often fail so painfully. Because in trying to control them, you're asking them to betray their purpose. To silence their creativity. To stop being the force of change they were born to be. Think about the people in your life who inspire you most. The ones who make you think differently. Who challenge you to grow. Chances are, at least one of them is an Aquarius. And their strength doesn't come from following the rules. It comes from breaking them. From questioning what others accept. From daring to live their truth, even when it means standing alone. When an Aquarius is forced into submission. When they're controlled, told to obey, told to conform, something inside them dies. Their spirit. Their creativity. Their light. They weren't born to be followers. They were born to lead by example. Not through power or control, but through inspiration. through being unapologetically themselves. So if you're walking beside an Aquarius, don't try to lead them. And don't ask them to follow you. Walk with them. As equals. As fellow travelers. Let them inspire you. Let them show you what freedom really looks like. Because at the end of the day, Aquarius isn't here to belong. They're here to change. To awaken. To open doors that others were too afraid to touch. And in the final part of this video, we're about to unlock the 3 most profound truths about Aquarius. Truths that reveal why their refusal to be controlled isn't just about them, but about something much larger. Something that can change how you understand freedom, love, and even yourself. Keep listening. What comes next might just shift your entire perspective. And now, we've come to something that might explain more about Aquarius than anything else. Their constant need to protect their personal freedom isn't just a personality trait. It's a way of surviving. Every part of their mind, their body, their soul is wired to guard that space where they feel independent. Without it, they lose themselves. Think of someone who always keeps a door slightly open. It's not because they're planning to leave. It's because knowing the door is open lets them stay. Aquarius needs that door. In relationships, in work, in life, they need to know they can choose. That no one owns them. That their path is still theirs to shape. The moment that door closes, even if it's from love or protection, they feel trapped. And when Aquarius feels trapped, they don't fight, they vanish. Imagine loving someone who disappears just when you thought everything was safe. Painful, isn't it? But to understand Aquarius, you need to understand this one truth. Their personal freedom is sacred. Without it, nothing else matters. Not love. Not success. Not even their dreams. It's not that they reject connection. It's that connection can't come at the cost of their independence. And it's deeper than needing space. It's about needing the power to choose their own life. To follow their own voice. To listen to that strange, beautiful intuition that guides them where logic never could. So if you love an Aquarius, remember, giving them freedom isn't pushing them away. It's holding them close in the only way they'll accept. But here's the final truth, and maybe the most important of all. Aquarius wasn't born to obey. They were born to inspire. They're not meant to fit in. They're meant to stand apart. To dream differently. To challenge everything the world accepts. They're not just rebels. They're visionaries. People who see what others can't. And dare to ask, why not? And maybe that's why controlling an Aquarius hurts so much. Not just for them, but for the world. Because every time you try to box them in, you dim a light that was meant to shine for all of us. Their purpose isn't to follow the map. It's to draw a new one. Their soul was designed to lead, not through force, but through inspiration. Have you ever known someone who made you think bigger? Feel deeper, question what you always believed? That's what Aquarius brings to this world. Not stability. Not predictability. But change. Possibility. Freedom. And maybe, they're here to remind all of us that freedom isn't something given. It's something claimed. So now, let's pause for a moment. If you've seen yourself in these words, or someone you love, take a breath. Maybe you've finally understood why someone always kept a little distance. Why someone you care about seemed impossible to hold on to. Or maybe, you're realizing why you've always felt the need to run, whenever life felt too heavy. Aquarius isn't here to reject you. They're here to be themselves. To remind you, in the quietest and loudest ways, that being free is the greatest love story of all. And if today's video touched something inside you, if it helped you see yourself or someone else more clearly, then I hope you'll stay connected. Subscribe to this channel if you felt even a small part of yourself reflected here. Share this video with someone who needs to hear these words. And leave a comment. I'd love to know what freedom means to you. Because this isn't the end of the journey. There's so much more to discover. More signs. More souls. More stories. And more truths waiting to be told. I hope you'll join me in the next video. Until then, stay curious. Stay kind. And above all, stay free.